Last time out at the Talladega Superspeedway, we saw one of the best races in the JBL Cup Series at Talladega for 43 of the 47 laps. It was fantastic racing all race long until the very end. The Andrew Miller blew a motor while he was in the lead. At the end of the day, Alexander Rowe was able to get his second win of the season, and he is on a roll here in the JBL Cup Series. But here today, the real race to the chase begins with just 9 races to go until the chase begins, and it is very interesting, very tight, and we are at one of my favorite tracks on NR. Shockingly, it is the Texas Motor Speedway for one of the longer races of the season, and it is race 12 of season number 7 of the JBL Cup Series for the Rush Truck Center's 500 at the Texas Motor Speedway. What's up everyone, it's the Buenos Racing 97 aka Nathan Stapleton here, and welcome to Texas Motor Speedway in the Lone Star Stadium. This is going to be a very fun race here today at the Texas Motor Speedway, and we got kind of the Atlanta tire, a version of it. Instead of 2.5 seconds of off, it's going to be a 2.75 to 2 seconds, so not quite, but a little bit more tire fall off than what we have seen in the past with only 1 second. So that's going to be interesting. 2 pit stops, and this track has a lot of great racing on it, and it is very unique with the ends being completely different from each other. Turns 1 and 2 is wide and flat. Turns 3 and 4 is a little bit narrower and highly banked. But we normally see some of the best racing all season long. This is one of my top mile halves on the schedule, and this is going to be a heck of a fun race here today. We saw a good one for the Superspeedway National Series race yesterday, and now it's time for these Cup guys. And we got Stuart Grant up here in the booth once again, and welcome to Texas for one of the longer mile and a half races of the season.
Thanks for having me, Nathan. Yeah, as you said, obviously this track is very different, very unique in turns 1 and 2, very different, kind of a wider sweeping entry into the corner, and obviously a difference in banking, and then turn 3 is a bit more, turn 3 and 4 is a bit more of your standard kind of intermediate 3 and 4. So it makes for a very interesting race, and makes for a very interesting track. Certainly here in the game, which is a bit more interesting in real life, but no, looking forward to this one, and I mean this field is as competitive as it gets at the moment, and anybody can win from any, well, not any position I suppose, but there are a lot of drivers that can win here today, from starting in around the top 10, top 20. You've got guys further back. I mean, you got the guy second in the championship winner last week, and Alexander Rowe, he starts for 27th, and Jordan Edwards has been up there for a lot of the year. He starts 29th. It's a very competitive field with a lot of drivers that are capable of winning this race.
Absolutely, we've seen that all year long, and especially now as we are starting to get to the heart of the regular season and the race to the chase is officially on. There's gonna be a ton of good drivers this year missing the chase. We normally do every year, but the parity and where some of these drivers are at with the owners is very, very tight, and it's going to be interesting of how it all plays out. I think as the season's gone on, we are starting to see some of the cream rising to the top, like RFK, like 2311, like Kendrick, like Spire. So we got to see of how that all shakes out. But this is a long race to it. It's 84 laps. It's one of the longer races of the season for my eyes. It's in theory 2 more laps longer than the season finale. So it's a long one. 2 pit stops, 28 to 30 laps on fuel. Is multi-groove racing, but this pit lane is one of the more tight pit lanes on the schedule. So because season pit road issues, what do these guys have to do to try to win here in Texas here today?
You mentioned the pit road. You got to nail your pit stops. You got, particularly on the entry, you can't be making any mistakes and missing pit road, or getting involved and getting into anybody else, and kind of setting yourself back a bit. Obviously, qualifying goes a long way. You got Barto, you got Sam Medea that start up at the front of the field, and these guys start front. that they're well placed. But you got to have a car that's able to manage the tires as much as you possibly can, and keep as much life in them as possible. You don't want to take too much out of them too early, because then it's going to hurt you in the long run. Especially if this thing stays green the whole way, then it's certainly going to hurt you. So. But this is a high speed racetrack, so you've got to be able to manage the tires, but you've also got to have good straight line speed as well. So finding that balance is really quite interesting, and it's a really good challenge. And so you gotta nail all aspects, and you got to execute for pretty much the entire day.
Absolutely, and for someone, if they nail pit lane, nail the racetrack, they can go to victory lane here at the Texas Motor Speedway. And really the first time this year, it's time for the race to the chase standings. And what a season it has been so far. We have had 10 different winners in the first 11 races, of only one repeat winner, and that is Alexander Rowe second in the point standings. And right now, Travis Crampton, who's had a heck of a resurgence here with RFK and Charlie Davenport as the team owner. He has 334 points, and he is 78 above the cutoff line. Alexander Rowe in second, plus 67. Duncan Allison plus 52. Jordan Stout plus 45. Jordan Edwards plus 41. And Abel plus 38. And Eli Bright plus 34. Those 7 are off to a great start to the year and are in a great shape early on in the regular season, just past the halfway mark. Carson Miller, the rookie, the highest rookie this year, plus 9. Sam Deal plus 6, and the local one only plus 1 above the cutoff line. And just outside of it, Barlow 1 point out and has wildcard number 1. And then Wachowski minus 8 has wildcard number 2. Bryce Egan minus 11. Hubert minus 17. Burnett minus 21. Silkswine minus 34. Hernandez minus 35. Logan Williams, who's had a bad luck type year, cannot have any luck on his side. 18th in points, minus 41. If we were talking about Logan Williams being in this situation at the start of the year, I would say that you were crazy. Andrew Miller, who had a great one going at Talladega until he blew up late, is minus 44. And Ron Kennington, minus 57. And then all the way back in 25th is Emily York Watson. Has that win from winning the Daytona 500, but it's not inside the top 20 as of now to capitalize on the wild card situation, but needs to get up there, but has enough time to do so. Trey Barlow is on pole here for the Rush Truck Center's 500, and alongside is Nicholas Samadillo. Carson Miller in third, and Bucky Campbell in fourth. Joe Rutkowski in fifth, and Jordan Stout in sixth. Travis Crampton and Logan Williams in row number 4, and then row number 5, we got the Texas native of Anthony Hernandez, and from number 6 of Matthew Burnett. And as Stuart said, we got some big names starting towards the back part of the field, like Eli Bright, like Logan Dawn. You got Jordan Edwards and Alexander Rowe second and fifth in points back here. And then you got some others that have struggled this year as well. But 84 laps, this is a long race. You can work your way from the back to the front. And Stuart, this is going to take the car, the driver, and the pit crew to win here for the Rush Truck Center's 500. But who do you got here to try and shoot those guns in victory lane here today?
I'm going to take a man who won a couple of weeks ago. And he starts from 5th. He's on the inside lane. I like where he's at the moment. He's got a wild card position. He could well be in the top 10 by the end of the day. Joe Rutkowski. Feels like these guys have made a big step up from where they were last year, because they were disappointing last year. Legacy Motor Club. They were very good the year before in 2024. And I think the 43 is going to be hard to beat today. I really like what the form they've found as of late, and I think Joe's going to find his way to victory lane.
Well, it's like I said with some other people this year. Joe Rutkowski, he has 1 win, but he could easily have 2 or 3 wins at this point of the year. Same can be said with Eli Bright. So Legacy Motor Club has definitely figured something out this year compared to last year, where they had a slow start. But we gotta see, this is a long race, 84 laps on tap, 2 pit stops here today, and it will be Trey Barlow and Nicholas Samadillo leading us to the green for race number 12 of the season already. in the JBL Cup Series and the Pace Car with dive down pit lane. Trey Bow, Nico Samadillo will lead us to the wing and wheel racing for the Rush Truck Center's 500 at the Texas Motor Speedway. A clean start on lap number 1, that's good to see. 3 wide off turn number 4 will be the trouble spot here today, most likely. Bottle out front, Carlos Miller in the 2nd place position, the highest rookie this year. And then you got the number 43 of Joe Rakowski and the 60 of Travis Hampton, who, as I said, has been on the up and up this year. He is the point leader. But Jordan Stout, one of the best cars this year with the entirety of 2311 Racing, gonna go to the inside. And like I said, we brought the Atlanta tire, a version of it, not quite as bad, not 2.5 seconds, but still about 2 seconds, give or take, on fall off, and you got miniature stuff always wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to make hay while the sun's shining. Make up as much ground as you can before those tyres really fall away. There's almost 3 wide back in there. I think that was the 20 maybe of Garcia that got shoved up out of the groove. That's Sustre in the 17. Beautiful looking race car there, that 17. Williams on the inside. These guys right battling at the bottom of the top 10 at the moment. You've got Ward there trying to make some ground. It's a bit of a hornet's nest back in there. There's some guys very close. I think that was Bright maybe that was perhaps in the middle there, the 42. He was kind of in an awkward position there, but they all get out of it. But for the most part, well, except for the lead, they're single file. But Carson Miller wants to get a wriggle on. As you said, 2311 have been very impressive this year with their 3 drivers, and all 3 of them top 10 in the points, top 8 in the points even. And now Miller looking for the lead, and he's going to get it. And here comes Ratkowski, and you imagine Stout will try and follow through as well.
It's basically been what they've done in real life with Tyler Redditt, one driver. But in this case, for Chad Haas, it's all 3. And it's kind of been crazy of how much we've said 2311. That's a good point to it, and they are definitely one of the stronger teams this year. But Toyota as a whole is strong. Bright and Rakowski have been strong this year. And Rakowski, he almost won the championship 2 years ago, and he got better as the season went on last year, but missed out on the chase. Same with Dio, to the inside of Jordan Stout. Same with Dio, he was really consistent last year, brought through with his first win during the in-season challenge part of the season, and he is trying to make the chase for the 2nd year in a row. Bottle back to the inside of Rakowski, and this battle's all over the place. Got Frampton back here with Stout, and you got the home state native of Hernandez on the move as well. And Alan Abel, it's been a rocky season for Joe Gibbs Racing, but Alan Abel is the shining star of this team, winning top 6 in the point standings.
Yeah, he's done a great job, given that it feels like at times they have struggled, and he's currently 6th in the championship, as you mentioned, working his way forward. The inside of Stout into that very unique turn 1 there, that sweeping turn 1, and he should be able to get past. You imagine Williams will try and follow through. You see Stout gets a little bit of a run on the high side, but can't get clear of the 11, and see, he's gonna actually, he might, he's got a good run through the center of the turn, so we'll see. He should be able to get this one done eventually. It'll take a little while because Stout's going to fight it. You see Williams is all over the back there. It's he's all right on the back. Yeah, but we got back around Ratkowski. Obviously he's starting to pole. That car is fast, and he looks like he wants to get back to the front of the field and get around. Carson Miller's off to a good start, as we mentioned. And how about those 2 spider cars back in there? Samadillo you mentioned, but Hernandez, home race for him. He's actually had a fairly solid season, coming into this race, still be at 17th in the points and a bit of a ways out, but he's had, I feel like, a better year than he had last year, and doing a nice job, top 5 at the moment.
Absolutely, and for Hernandez, it's always been a what if. I feel like he's not been at a top 5 team, I would say, but he almost won Richmond a couple times, I think 2 years ago, and then was running up front again last year, so he's been a very solid driver, and he's shown it at times, but we just gotta see if he can make it into the chase. He is gonna be a contender this year, I think. And right now, speaking of contenders, we got one, maybe two, for Carson Miller out front in the number 35, trying to get a second win on the season, but so is Barlow side by side. In 2010s, 3 and 4, the multi-groove action is on full display here at at Texas Motor Speedway, as Trey Barlow takes the point on lap number 11, now lap number 12. And Carson Miller trying to close back in, but Witkowski is closing in, and ironically, it's both of our wildcard drivers when I was to it are first and third.
Yeah, doing a very nice job. They want to get inside that top 10 in the championship and ensure that they don't have to fall back on the wild card. Obviously, they do have wins, so that's obviously going to help their case, but they want to get another one and get themselves into the top 10 and maybe get some bonus points as well. You see, Witkowski's all over the back of the 35. He's clearly got a faster car. It's just a matter of setting him up, trying to find, you know, where's the 35 weak? Where can I pounce? Where can I make that move stick? Was a little bit lower, lost a bit of ground there out of turn 2, so that didn't quite work the way he would have wanted. There's Rogel Dawn in the 3. He's worked his way up into the 8th position. He's the guy that's 10th in the points, and currently the guy that Witkowski and Bartow are really chasing after, in particular. Sabatino's obviously 9th in points, and Miller's 8th in points, so a lot of the drivers around the bubble are doing a very nice job of things, and really outside of the 7, and Sustray's also up inside the top 10 there. That purple car just getting passed by Jordan Stout. Otherwise, the real contenders, you know, the cream drives it to the top, isn't it? The real contenders are making their presence felt here in this race.
Absolutely. I feel like the last couple of races, really towards the end of the in-season challenge, we were starting to see the rains be in full effect here early on. Even though there's some parity to it, we are seeing these guys make some hay up towards the front end. One of them is Jordan Edwards. He's still 29th here today, and he's all the way up into the 16th position, and he's ahead of guys like Matthew Hubert, like Andrew Miller, like Alexander Rowe, who's fallen back, and Duncan Allison and Ronald Kennington. So Jordan Edwards, maybe not the best qualifying one, but he is moving through the field inside the top 16. We're all the way halfway through the first few one though. It's going to be about 28 to 30 laps on fuel. And there is going to be about 2 seconds of fall off. And we are seeing the fall off here as the field is starting to spread out. But Carson Miller trying to maybe cross over here for the race lead. But if these two get side by side, that will allow Joe Witkowski and Sam Deal to close right back in. And you talked about Wilk Doran. Wilk Doran's on the move on the long one. It was an 8th and now is on the back bumper of Hernandez for a top 5 spot.
Yeah, he's making a lot of ground, isn't he? And he looks very racy because he got around Abel, got around Crampton, those guys. He's working his way forward. And Miller, I was about to say with Carson Miller, as he goes to the inside of Bartow, it looked like he was going to lose that spot to Witkowski for a second a few laps ago. He gets around Bartow, gets cleared, takes the lead once again. But he might have just been saving his tyres just a little bit because he looked really sluggish there for a moment. May have saved his tyres a little bit just for the back end of the run, and he's taken the lead back. But the 3 is the one to watch because he looks very, very racy. Well, one of the ones to watch. Bartow's certainly one to watch. He's going back to the inside of Miller. He did get underneath. I thought Miller may have tried to shut the door on him, but Bartow says, I want the lead back, thank you very much, and he's going to get it. The top 4 have pulled away, but got to keep an eye on the 3 because he is very fast.
Vogel is absolutely hauling on the long one here, and I'm kind of noticing turns 1 and 2 is more multi-groove than 3 and 4. These guys are kind of arcing the corner a little bit, kind of diamonding it, and then sometimes they're just running the high side and they're getting a good momentum, and that's what Carson Miller did once to Barlow, and Barlow saw that and he's like, let me try that right back at you, rookie, and they went to form for the race lead. Witkowski and Sam Deal hanging on tough. Sam Deal might get to the inside here for the 3rd place spot, side by side of Sam Deal and Witkowski, 9th and 12th in points respectively. But Witkowski's going to get a 1 on the outside lane. The outside lane from 1 and 2 seems to get better as the 1 goes on with over the tires. But Carson Miller trying to close back in. And this 3 car is flying. He got past the 7 and he's all the way closing in to the top 4. So Local's going to have a shot here today. Won at Phoenix earlier in the year. And Local might have a shot at a race win here today.
Yeah, he is moving, and he started a bit further back in this race, but he's really fast. Closing in, obviously, he's dropped Hernandez a bit. He's gaining on the guys in front. Obviously, a long way to go, though. We're only a quarter of the way through this one, so still so much of this race left to play out. Rakowski slid up the racetrack. Sam Medeiros going to pounce here, get to the inside of the 43, but as you mentioned, the multi-groove, multi-grooves here on this, multiple grooves here on this track. Will Rakowski be able to carry that momentum on the high side, or will Sam Medeiros be able to get enough alongside to be able to get that position? Rakowski got a good run out of turn 2, but Sam Medeiros is able to hang on the inside, and it looks like the entry of 3 is a big point of difference there. 77 should be able to get clear of Rakowski. Does so. He's up to 3rd, but you can see how much time they lost battling for that position, and Miller's now closed back in on Barto. He wants to take the lead back away.
Yeah, the way that this track is a very high-speed racetrack, almost full throttle for 3/4 of the racetrack besides turns 1 and 2, and even in 3 and 4 for the most part until now when the tires are falling off, you can go almost full throttle in 3 and 4. So that is how big of a difference it was for San Diego and Rakowski to go side by side. Now Local Dawn is going to be side by side with Joe Rakowski here. And it's going to be interesting of how it works out with the tire fall off here today. Double the one it normally is. Normally it's a second. Today is 2 seconds. So that's going to be interesting with the strategy part of it. But we're not even a quarter of the way through. Or we are just a quarter of the way through. We've not done the first round of pit stops. Carson Miller trying to make a move through 3 and 4. On ball for the race lead. Might make it stick in 1 and 2. But he's going to think better of it. About 3 to 5 laps away from pit stops here for the first round of them in the West Truck Sense 500, and what a start so far.
Yeah, and I thought Miller was going to get to the inside because Barto really slipped up there, but Barto did a good enough job to be able to get the drive out of 4 and hold him at bay, or maybe Miller was just being patient and waiting for a better opportunity. He's got a good run out of turn 4. This time, he's not quite close enough really to make that move. You've got to really be on the back bumper to make that move into turn 1 already alongside. As Dawn now closing in on Sam Medeiros. Rakowski struggling a little bit more than I kind of anticipated at this stage in the race, but he's still doing a solid job. Hernandez obviously doing a very good job. The 11, the 23, 60, Sustre inside the top 10. All 3 of the RFK cars, 9th, 10th and 11th. So nice job there. And yeah, as you mentioned, Jordan Edwards earlier, he's worked his way up into the 12th position. So he's done a good job. Alexander Rowe, for the record, down in 19th. So he has he's made some progress, but not as much as, say, the 9. So Edwards, if he gets a caution, as Dawn gets around Sam Medeiros right there, if he gets a caution, he might be right back into the swing of things here. But Dawn will be able to get past Sam Medeiros. Nice move there.
Dawn's going to have a really good chance at this race win here today. Things to look out for Jordan Edwards. Still 29th all the way up to 12th already. Crazy stuff for him. And RFK, we talked about, they are one of the top teams here as well. And they're doing a great job 9th, 10th, and 11th. And we got to see how pit stops shake out here, as we got a battle with Hernandez, Abel, and Stout. Should see someone pit here this time by. And we got to see if who ends up doing the undercut here in this one. It's not going to be the top 2, not going to be the top 5. It'll be an Abel doing the undercut on lap 28.
Yeah, I'm always a big fan of the undercut, so I like it there for Abel, who feels like maybe doesn't quite have the car of the speed of the cars in front. You've got Bright, Logan Williams, to Halverston. You've got the 99 Taylor back in there also pitting, and I'm not sure, you've got York Watson and Miller, Kenneth Miller, that is, the other cars on pit road. So I like the undercut. These guys are going to come down at the exact same time, and they're all going to use the same strategy basically, and have a little bit one lap younger tyres compared to the other guys like Abel and company. So we'll see most of the field coming in. Who's that? That's staying out. 19 at Kennington. So most of the field coming down. We'll see how it all plays out. You've got to nail your pit stop. Can't make any mistakes.
And this is where the narrow pit lane is going to play into a factor. And you see it's a 2-lane pit lane. Most of the time it's not, but it is a 2-lane pit lane here. And that's going to be very critical of these guys to have a clean pit road on and off of the pit stall. Barlow is going to have a slightly slower stop than Carson Miller. All over the back bumper for the 35. Hernandez with a decent stop. And Jordan Edwards with
Dawn
with a bad stop. Edwards with a good stop. Alexander Rowe with a decent stop. And it looks like it was a mostly clean pit lane. No, it was not. Juan Garcia and Alexander Vitale stuck on pit lane.
What does Juan Garcia got to do to get any kind of luck in this series?
I don't know.
He's had a shocking year. He's had a shocking year, hasn't he? It's Kennington's done with his stop. I want to see where Abel came out relative, because he definitely made some ground. Oh yeah, up to third. So that's an indication. That's a visual representation of how powerful the undercut is with such high tire degradation here. And he's going to get around Carson Miller. Miller might have a problem on the 35, because that 35 is really... Yeah, that would do it. So that's probably game over for car 35. He's going to have to come down, you'd imagine, or we might try and tough it out. But he's dropping like a rock. He's going to lose so much ground, and got to be careful here for Samadeo. Oh, that was very close. Bright there as well. The 42's made a lot of ground with his undercut. He's actually going to get around Samadeo right there. So yeah, that's a terrible break for the 35, because he was running very, very well in this race. But now you've got Bright, who took that undercut. He's got around his teammate. He's got around Samadeo, who kind of lost out in all that. Sustre had a good stop. Hernandez dropped back a little bit. Jordan Edwards now inside the top 10. But Rogel Dawn lost a heap of ground, really, in the grand scheme of things, as they're still struggling to get... Got to be real careful here. Oh, in the wall. That's not good. And Dawn's losing more time. Stout's losing time. This is going to massacre their races.
Huge shake-up in this race for the 3 of Rogel Dawn, the 23 of Jordan Stout, the 35 of Carson Miller, and he is also someone that cannot catch a break. He is massively off pace. We might just black flag him and have him forcefully fix his fuel system issue, because this is a moving chicane here at Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, well, that's a shame. So yeah, Sam Vitale must have got tangled up with someone on pit road, because that car's still in his pit stall. So that's a shame there for the 12. As you see, obviously Carson Miller is going to get black flagged right here by the officials, and so he'll have to come down and repair that fuel system problem. That's a shame, because he was fast. He was real fast and in contention to win this race. And you see he's coming down now, and that's a day done for the 35. That's a bad break with Bartow, obviously 11th in the points. Rutkowski 12th in points. They're running up in the top 5 at the moment, and actually, it's going to be hard now to beat this 24. I think Abel, he'll be happy with second at the moment, given that he was, towards the second half of that back half of the top 10. But with those slightly worn out tyres, or the one lap older tyres, it makes a difference. And so he may not have the pace of Bartow, because Bartow's going at a rapid rate. But you see Rutkowski trying to get back to the inside of Samadeo. Samadeo got past both the legacy cars, so the 77's clearly got a bit of speed going for him. But he's just a long way back now. I mean, he's 3 and 2/3 seconds back, 3.6 seconds back. So yeah, Bartow's looking pretty good here at the moment. He continues to pull away from Abel, and a good run for the 7, as I know I said it before. But he's also working his way around Kyle Sustre, who's also having a pretty good day at the moment. These guys battling for a position in the championship as well, 16th and 17th in points.
Absolutely. There's drivers that need a good one today that are getting it right. Sustre, right, Hernandez. Same can be said for Burnett. He needs a good one as well. Halliston's on the move. He's still deep in the field. Well, he's still flying. He's up to 12th. They fixed the setup on that car, and he's now on the move in the 45. Stout all the way back in 13th. Local to one who looked like he had one of the fastest cars today. He got held up by Carson Miller, and he's down in 14th. And then Nick Lopez will round out the top 15. Not really seeing much of Duncan Wood today. Same with Logan Williams, unfortunately. Juan Kennington in 19th. Bryce Egan, he's up there in the points, battling for a chase spot. and he's running in 19th. But shout out to Taylor Taylor. Not really seeing a lot of this 99 team, and is running inside the top 20. And a bad season continues for Hubert for some odd reason. 21st, 22nd, and 23rd for these three of Hubert, Miller, and Andrews. And we do have 31 cars right now as we approach the halfway mark on the lead lap. The last one is the 2 of BP Ruiz. Juan Garcia's 1 lap down. The 22 of Brother Lima's 1 lap down. And then obviously the 35. Normally I wouldn't do that, but he was 4 seconds off the pace with that fuel system issue because of it being a 506. So normally I wouldn't do that, but that ended up being the case. Sam Vitale is 6 laps down, and unfortunately Joshua Neely is out with the gearbox issue in the number 51. So his rough season continues, but almost halfway through, and maybe, just maybe, Stuart, we might have to watch out for Unable here.
Yeah, especially if he gets another undercut, because he has actually, to my surprise actually, because I hadn't anticipated that the 11 would be able to keep up with the 11, sorry, keep up with the 24. You know, he's got that margin back to 7/10, although we'll see what it is this time. He's behind Garcia. That's, yeah, 6/10, yeah, so he's keeping up. And if he could do the undercut again on Barto, that would probably put him in the lead of the race, especially if this thing stays green the whole way. So, yeah, it's 16 points. Hasn't won yet. Would love to get a win. Would do a lot for his season. And now these two guys are trying to work. I mean, they're trying to battle with each other first and foremost, but they're pulled away from Bright and Hernandez and Sastre. They're trying to close in, but we're in there halfway. So there's still so much of this race left to play out. So, yeah, we'll see. There is time for Rakowski and Samadia to close in on the front two, but they've got to probably work together, get a bit of a wriggle on here, and as Abel's trying to get around his teammate Garcia up in front.
I think Abel tried helping Garcia, or Garcia tried helping Abel, and it was helping a little bit. I think Abel might be in the draft barely of Great Barrow, so that's going to help him. But, I don't know. The interesting thing is that Abel did do the undercut, and it worked out for him, but eventually is not going to. And towards the end of the race, it will be about 20 to 24 laps to go, instead of basically almost the whole race to go, 50-54. So that might be the way to go for Abel on the long one here. And we gotta watch out for Samuel and Watkowski. They are closing in down to 2.1 for Samuel. So these guys are closing into at least Blight. Maybe not Barrow, but at least to and Abel, I should say, not Blight. But lap 12 is going to be a problem, Stuart. I was not really expecting it today, but if this race stays clean, we will catch up to some more of the tail end of the field of Kenneth Miller and BP Ruiz. But a fun race so far. Honestly, a tough race for Carson Miller in the 35, but Barrow looks strong in that 24. Abel looks strong, even with the undercut. Sam Dio, Watkowski, Blight, Hernandez, Sastry, maybe Burnett, maybe Crampton, maybe Jordan Edwards if we get a caution. Edwards is going to be quick if we get a caution. Same can be said with Alexander Rowe. 27th to 12th, and then 29th to maybe 9th for the number 9 machine.
Yeah, and he gets to the inside here of Crampton, right on cue. He saw Crampton hit the wall. You hope, for his sake, that he doesn't have to repair any damage on his pit stop, because he hit it pretty square, but pretty hard. So, you know, that might be something that they have to repair on the pit stop. But the RFK cars are doing a pretty good job. 8th, 9th, and... sorry, 7th, 8th, and 9th currently. They're doing a nice job. But, you know, Sabadio is one to watch, because he's now almost a second back of Abel. So he's got to get around Garcia, obviously, and that's going to hold him up just a little bit. But he is pretty quick, because he's obviously gaining on Abel. He's gaining on Barto. He's pulling away from Rutkowski. So the 77 has found his groove here this season. I felt like he got off to a slightly sluggish start, didn't he? And, you know, obviously got that win at Martinsville, that elusive win. And, yeah, this is a stronger run we've seen from the 77 on an intermediate all season. Rutkowski getting a little close there to Garcia. Slid up a little bit, but stayed off him. He gets around him quicker than Medina did, and you can see he lost time to both Abel and to Barto. So, Yeah, it'd be interesting with the strategy because you imagine that they're going to pit within the next 10 laps. Who takes the undercut? Because given the way Abel's running at the moment, you know, it may not be as much of a death sentence to do the undercut, I should say, than perhaps say at say a Darlington, for example.
Yeah, the weird. So it's just a very similar tire to Atlanta, but it doesn't fall off as quick as Atlanta. So that's probably the reason why that undercut is working so well for Abel, and this is gonna help him as well. Ball's caught up to Kenneth Miller and B.B. Ruiz. Sam Dio, as you mentioned, he was consistent all year last year, made the chase as a rookie, and he won at Martinsville. And this is probably one of his better ones on the mile half this season. That team started not terribly slow, but they will tick off than some of these others, but they've gone better as the season's gone on, clearly, with 2 cars inside of the top 10. I don't know what the same with Zachary Fitzwater is in 22nd last time by, so not too great of one for Fitzwater, but at least for 7 and the 77, they are running well, and this is gonna, I think, help and Abel here. Gonna time it perfectly on Kenneth Miller, and you know what, Abel, he's been carrying Joker's Racing on his back. The team's been wondering what's going on, but Abel's like, well, I'm running good in points, so nothing's going on for him, and he's gonna try and close in with Barlow here. Same deal and Witkowski.
Yeah, those two guys there, the 77-43, have been able to benefit from, you know, the 24, the 11 kind of working through these lap cars. You see Abel's going to get to the inside of Ruiz, should get by pretty quickly, and not lose that much time. It's kind of hovered around this 6, 7, 8 tenths of a second for a lot of this run. And I give credit to the 11 for that and the way he's performed, but Sam Adeo is very quick. Rutkowski is also, you know, doing a pretty good job. You know, he hasn't lost as much time. They've really pulled away from Bright, who's now, you know, over nearly 3 seconds off the 43. So those guys have got a big battle pack back in here. We know Sam Vitale is a little bit of an interesting case because he's 6 laps down and he's got those out of sync in that regard. So he's got slightly fresher tires, but yeah, it's going to be interesting here. Who bites the bullet first, pits first, and tries to get an undercut? That may be the race-winning move as now Abel starts to fall back into the clutches of Sam Adeo.
Sam Adeo's quick. I think if Sam Adeo can have a really good pit stop here, he could have a battle with Troy Barlow for this race win. And in theory, we have 30 laps to go. It's the max that you can go 31 laps on fuel. So we are in the fuel window. If someone wants to pit now, they could, but they will probably wait till lap 60 or so, here in about 5 or 6 laps time. Credit to Abel, that undercut did work out for him for a long time until late in this one. And the good thing for him, oh boy, that's not a good thing for him. Never mind, slides up the racetrack on those old tires and now San Mateo up into the 2nd place spot. And this is huge. He's easily gonna get past Abel. And now, this is interesting. What can San Mateo do in just a handful of laps before pit stops on Troy Barlow?
Yeah, and especially now with a lap car closing in. I think is that maybe no, that's York Watson in the 47. So you know, hasn't got there yet, but may come into play in this run depending on when they want to pit, when these drivers want to pit. I'd imagine if you're able, you'd probably do the undercut again because, I mean, yes, the car now is starting to feel like it's maybe starting to drop off a little bit, but the benefit of the undercut outweighs the negative because he gains so much ground on the guys in front. So that's what I would do, at least. I don't know. I'm not a strategic person, I guess, but we'll see. We'll see what he does. I'd imagine he'll pit. No, Sam Adeo's going to undercut. There you go. So that's, yeah, there you go. So Sam Adeo, Abel, and Rutkowski all in. Bartow stays out, so that may hurt the 24. So we'll see. This is going to be a pivotal stop for these guys, and if they can nail it, they may end up being the leaders of the race.
Do the opposite of the leader, and that's exactly what all of the top 4 do outside of Troy Barlow. And now it's up to the pit crews. Logan Williams actually, I think, did the undercut over everyone, as he's just now leaving pit road already. So that could be something to watch out for if he can steal a top 10 here today. Barlow's already leaving in the 42. Gotta watch out for this though. Don't know where the 41 is on pit lane. I think he's already past the stall. And same deal, Abel and Wachowski leads those three. I believe Barlow is on pit lane, and there he is with the number 1 pit stall. And I believe the 6 is still out there with Burnett. He's going to get a bonus point. And now this is interesting because I like the call of doing the opposite of Barlow. But we saw this at Kansas at the last mile and a half. Pit road problems in a caution-free race determined the win. But that's not going to be the case here. A clean pit stop for Barlow. There's San Mateo in the background. And we're going to keep an eye out on this.
San Mateo's going to get him. He's going to round him up, same with Abel. That's how much the undercut makes a difference. And so San Mateo takes the lead. Let's see if Rutkowski gets out in front of the 24 as well. Yep. He does. So Bartow goes from first to fourth. But yeah, I mean, given the tyre fall off, I think the undercut's well and truly the right move. You see Burnett's still on pit road in the 6. He's now done. But San Mateo's got the race lead, and that was 100% the right call given the green flag feel of this race. They had a good stop, certainly in comparison to Rutkowski, because maybe Rutkowski got held up on pit road a little bit, maybe more so. He certainly got held up when Abel was entering his pit stall, so he's now dropped back a couple of seconds. But look how far back Bartow is. The 24 now, several seconds off the lead of the race, so that strategy call to leave him out late probably going to hurt him really, and it may end up being a battle between the 77 and the 11 for this race win.
3.3 seconds now for Barlow. He's on a lap flush of tires, but you know, I like that call. Do the opposite of Troy Barlow, and that might work out. Abel, we saw how quick he was at the start of the second one, and now he is really fast at the start of the third and final one. Almost contact off turn 4. 23 laps to go in the Rush Truck Sense 500. A fantastic race, and this is why we have this be a 84 lap race, because it is one of my favorite mile laps on the schedule, and that's odd to say with how it is in real life, but it is a gem on and on. And Abel, like I said, it's been a tough year for Joe Gibbs Racing, not for Aaron Abel. He is trying to get his first win of the season, and he's trying to maybe jump up to the top 5 in the point standings, but same with Dio, not going to stop that from making it so easy for the 11 machine. Wachowski, we got to look and see what he does, because he is closing in the more that they battle, and Barlow will close in more as well. But it might just come down to Aaron Abel and Nicholas Samadeo. And the mechanical issues keep on happening. I thought I saw someone in pit lane, and that was Duncan Alston in the number 4, third place in points with another fuel system issue.
Yeah, tough break for Halverston, but it'll be interesting. I think we saw Abel there in 3-4. He ran a slightly higher groove and was able to maybe carry a bit more speed through the corner in comparison to Samadeo. So it's interesting to see the different lines and how they run it. Now Samadeo moves up maybe like half a groove potentially, and you know, similar line to Abel, really following around the 11. Rutkowski's not out of it as well. He's kind of stabilised that margin. In fact, he's gained like half a tenth that lap. He's got 20 laps to do it, so he's got time. Bartow gained about a tenth the last lap, so there's still plenty of time for any really at the top 4, and I think it comes down to the top 4 to win this race, which is probably fair because they've been the fastest 4 and they haven't had issues come their way like lap traffic or whatever. They've been better at getting around the lap traffic that we saw certainly with Miller, but they've also nailed the pit stops, and they're probably the ones that you compete for the win. How about Rowe? He's going back to him now. He's up to 6th, so he continues his very good form. He's ahead of Hernandez, who's now 7th. Edwards is 8th. Bryce Egan has cracked the top 10, by the way, the 16. He's worked his way inside. And keep an eye on the 6 of Burnett, because he was very late in terms of his pit stop. He has the freshest tyres in the field. It looks like Crampton did have to repair that damage, because he's now down in 19th. So a tough break for a championship leader.
Tough break for that point leader, and might end up being Alexander Rowe from 29th to maybe the top 5 today. Might be the new point leader going into All America next week. Welcome in with the undercut. He did the undercut, and he might salvage a top 15 one. So not
I think
too
we've got
bad.
a battle for the lead. I think I saw that it was within a tenth last time. Let's see if San Mateo's made that one stick.
Not quite.
It was close. It was close. It was
close.
0.09 of a second between those two last time by. So you see now San Mateo running that high groove. Yeah, he's running that higher groove. He's trying to find any way he can around this 11, but Abel's doing a very good job. He's holding his own. You know, he's not making mistakes. He's carrying a lot of speed through the turns, but don't count the 43 out because he's gaining slowly but surely on the front two.
Do not count Joe Wachowski. Little pit to winning it today. Kind of has been quiet. Been third, fifth, sixth all day long, and he is closing in late. And I will say another thing: don't count lap traffic. With how long we've gone green here, we only have 27 cars on the lead lap, and we have Howley and shooting up ahead. We have Bruno Giacomo. We have Bucky Campbell as well. So if this thing stays green, lap traffic could play a factor late in the rush truck since 500. In April, Nicholas Samadillo, Joe Wachowski, 1 second apart. Barlow has a clean track in front of him now, and he's trying to close in. It's going to be interesting if Barlow can close in, because he does have a lap fresher tires than the top 3. And then we got to see if Rowe can steal top 5 from Bright, but like all year long, the Toyota's been strong, Stuart, and we have a 1, a 2, 3, 4 within the top 6.
Yeah, and I mean, the good ownership, they know what they're doing with the cars, and it's resulting, and obviously high quality drives. I mean, Aaron Abel's a very high quality driver, and he proved that last year, previous years. He's had a great year so far, as you mentioned. Joe Gibbs Racing as outside of him have been a bit of a struggle. Had a bit of a struggle this year. He's done a great job, and he's pulling away now from the 77. But Radkowski's closing in on these guys. He's got that whiff now of the 77 in front. He's probably got to get a little bit more of a wriggle on if he's going to catch Abel, because Abel's going to be hard to overtake within these last 10 laps. But don't count the 43 out. I think Bartow's 3 seconds back still. I think it comes down to the top 3 in this race. But getting close here with 12 laps to go, it should be a really sufficient. And how about Rowe now getting up to 5th? His performance here today has been nothing short of brilliant.
29th to 5th at a racetrack. It was not hard to pass, but he's had to do it with 2 pit stops and a clean and green flag field of the rush truck since 500. So great job from Alexander Rowe. He might be the car to beat throughout the summer months here in the JBL Cup Series. That's going to be fun for Crampton and Rowe possibly throughout the year. And, Crampton could be up there too if he didn't get into the wall with Carson Mills this year. But Wachowski, he is whipping on his inside lane. I keep on talking about the multi-roof part of it. Zamdia keeps on trying the high side in 1 and 2, but it's not working out for him anymore. Wachowski's running the inside lane in 1 and 2, and it's working out for him brilliantly. So we gotta see if Wachowski can get to the inside. He does. On scene with the Bucky Campbell. Just went down pit lane, had a oil leak issue for the number 10 now. And now Wachowski's up to 2nd. And now Wachowski and Abel trying to get his first win on the season. Wachowski trying to get his 2nd in the last 3 races, and really, he won at Kansas 2 races ago. So he's trying to get his 2nd straight mile and a half win with less than 10 laps to go.
He's running out of time, but he's not that far back. He's just got to make as much ground as he possibly can. He's, let's say, 9/10 back behind Abel. Abel is not going to be easy to overtake. He wants this race win. There's no doubt about that. But Radkowski clearly much faster than Samadillo. So will he be able to find a way around this 11, especially with those lap cars? I suppose there's one less now in front of Abel because Campbell's on pit road with the oil leak problem. But you've got Anderson, you've got Giacomo in front. And if you're Aaron Abel, if you could get around those guys very quickly, that goes a long way to winning this race now with 8 laps to go.
Absolutely. Got almost a 1 second lead now for Aaron Abel. He's starting to pull away from Wachowski. Maybe they made some adjustments on that Yahoo number 11 to be better on the long one with the undercut strategy. But Howley Anderson Jr., Bruno Giacomo, these two might determine of who wins this race. If Abel can get past as he goes a little bit wide off turn 4, he did that at the end before the second round of pit stops, and it didn't really hurt him that time though. But these two are going to really determine the race. If Abel can get past the 21 and the 1 very quickly, but that's not going to help him. They're going to go side by side between these two. They're going for position for their own right, but what a run from Aaron Abel. We didn't really see him all race long until he did the undercut all the way back on lap 30 or so. So a great one from Aaron Abel, and he's just a handful of laps away from getting his first win of the season.
Yeah, maybe Rutkowski's run out of tyres to play with because he's dropping back now from the 11. Or Aaron Abel did a better job managing his tyres. He was, he was at the front of these group of cars. It's not like he had any cars that were he had to he lost a lot of grip behind cars in front. He is behind Diacomo, wants to get past him as soon as possible. It goes a long way to winning this race, obviously, now with 5 laps to go. And correct me if I'm wrong, if this does play out and Abel is able to get this victory, it'd be the 11th winner in 12 races. So
it would be.
I mean, a very competitive field this year where a lot of guys can win the championship. It didn't really feel that way last year where a lot of guys, were, like Andrew Miller won a lot of races last year, for example. It feels like it's a bit more open this season, and got to keep an eye on this 11 because he's going to be one of those drivers to beat, you'd imagine, now with 4 laps to go. Absolutely.
Last year it was Andrew Miller, it was yourself, it was, I believe, Logan Williams, and then there's a 4th I'm forgetting on the top of my head, but there's
Hubert, the champion.
Hubert, of course, but there's a 4-way battle all year long between yourself and those 3. This year, there's 15, 20 cars that could win this championship, and Aaron Abel has quietly been one of the most consistent drivers. He, all year long before today, he's just been getting top 10, maybe top 5. Today he has a race-winning car, and he's got past the 2-lap cars relatively quickly, as, Wachowski has caught back up to the number 11 machine of Aaron Abel, but he has to get past the 1 in 21 as well. And for Wachowski, he only has 2 more laps to go. How about this Kansas caution-free race? And we had a bomb burner. I keep on saying Las Vegas, Texas. A bomb burner caution-free race here, and we are having some great races here in the middle part of the regular season. 1 to go. Let's count by for Aaron Abel and the number 11. Wachowski definitely close in with the lap traffic, but we gotta see if Barlow can steal it from Sam Deal for 3rd, but it'll be the power 1 to go for Aaron Abel and the number 11 machine. We talked about it all race long. It's been a struggle for Joe Gibbs Racing this year, outside of the number 11 of Aaron Abel. Most likely he's gonna be maybe inside the top 5 in the point standings, but along with 10 other drivers, he has a last chance reserve in his back pocket. He has a wild card opportunity if he needs it. Aaron Abel will win the Rush Truck Series 5 under that Texas Motor Speedway, and that is the 11th different winner in 12 races, and Aaron Abel in the, ironically, number 11 car gets the race win.
I think that is appropriate sponsor for this race win here for Aaron Abel. We'll be celebrating this one. And that was a brilliant drive. He was fantastic. And the strategy, the first pit stop went a long way. He took the undercut. He was able to hang around with Bartow and keep him within striking distance. And then obviously they all came down at the same time. He made the race-winning move on Sam Adio and was able to. He had a very fast race car. So full credit to those guys at Joe Gibbs Racing. A bit of relief for those guys because, as we've talked about, it's been a tough year for them. But for Aaron Abel, that goes a long way for his championship aspirations, and should be, you'd imagine, on his way to the chase this season.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to help him a lot for making it into the chase, regardless of a wild card or in as the top 10 in points, because guys like Barlow and Wachowski, they did a great job here today too, and they're going to bump into the top 10 a lot of the drivers that we expected to be up front ran well here today, and that's going to be very interesting as we get through the rest of the season. Kennington in 19th. Not great ones for him here today. Shout out to Nick Lopez, though. In 13th form in the Long Garcia, he had a pit road issue. On the first stop, he finished 28th. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on with Joe Gibbs Racing but and Ryan Little, but he got unable. And I'm not surprised. Alan Abel, he's on a stretch of races that started all the way back in the chase last year, where he's just been getting almost the top 10 almost every single week. So, Alan Abel is definitely the leading driver at that team with Ryan Little in JGR, and he proved it today with the undercut strategy and gets the job done. Wachowski, San Diego, but a low 29th to 5th in a caution-free race. There's not much else you can really say about that. Bright in 6th, Burnett in 7th, Egan, Sustry, and Edwards also shout for him 27th to get a top 10. That's yet another one for that number 9 team. Hernandez almost a top 10 in its own race for him here today. Hubert in 12th, Lopez, Stout, Crampton in 15th, so he was able to salvage something. Dorn never was able to recover after the Carson Miller problem in 16th, Duncan Wood 17th, Logan Williams. The undercut did not work out for Logan Williams as it did for Abel, as Logan Williams finishes in 18th. Warren Kennington and Andrew Miller rounds out the top 20 here today, and only one car was out of the running at the end of this one, and that was Josh Ramirez with a gearbox issue. But what a fun race! 84 laps, clean and green. Had a couple of mechanical issues, but for what's worth, we've seen cautions here before, but not here today. And Alan April pulled the strategy perfectly, and he did the undercut not once but twice on Trey Barlow, and it worked out for him. A win that got away from Barlow in 4th, but still a good one. What's the final thoughts, Stuart, for me? Thriller here at Texas.
Yeah, I mean, you do wonder about Bartow. If he had pitted with the 11, the 43, the 77, would he have gone on to win the race? Because he had, for a lot of the day, he had the fastest car. But yeah, that strategy call, they'll probably be ruining that. But obviously, still a good points day for them. Rowe going from as far back as he was to get to 5th is very impressive. And yeah, I mean, it's again, as I said, it's such a competitive field this season. You know, you look at a team like Front Row, obviously Halverston had a mechanical issue, but someone like Logan Williams struggling as bad as he has been this season, you know, is quite remarkable. Andrew Miller won, as we talked about on the broadcast, he won a lot of races last year, and he joins Hendrick, and all of a sudden, you know, he finishes 20th today, and it's a very competitive field, lots of fast cars, lots of very good drivers, elite drivers, and in the end, it's a well-deserved win for Aaron Abel. He was very fast today. Great strategy call, great pit stops, and made the move for the win. So full credit to the driver of the number 11.
Absolutely, and to the point about the penalty, there's, I think, 24 cars that could make the chase this year, but we only take 12, so there's going to be some really strong competitors that missed the chase this year, and that's just how it is in Season 7 of the JBL Cup Series. 11 different winners in the first 12 races, and 12 out of the first 13 if you count the crash. We're starting to run out of people to win. I guess in theory we could have 30 different winners, or 29 different winners in 30 races, but we gotta see what happens next week. We will be at Road America early in the season for race number 13 on the season, and for our second road course race of the year. So that's going to be interesting. And then I believe it's Dover, and then Charlotte for the longest race of the season for the 600. So it'll be interesting. Thanks for Stuart for joining me up here in the booth for a caution-free Rush Truck Center's 500. And Abel gets the race win with not one but 2 undercuts, and he gets the win over Wachowski and San Diego. Next week we will be at Road America for both series, and until then, we will see you guys up in Wisconsin for race number 13 of the season for Season 7 of the JBL Cup Series.